Chapter 15. The next morning, Koo snaked along a winding country road as Mac pulled up beside her. She glanced at him for a moment, then fixed her gaze back on the road. Mac pulled forward, opened the trailer gate, and kept pace right in front of Koo's. In the trailer, Lightning faced Koo's. "You won't talk me out of this, Mr. McQueen," said Koo's, continuing to drive. "I'm going back to the training center. I resign as your trainer." "All right," said Lightning, upbeat. "I accept your resignation. Bye." Lightning closed the gate, and Koo looked up at him, a little surprised. Then he opened the gate again. "But since you've cleared your calendar, why don't you come with us?" "Why?" "I'm looking for someone named Smokey, hoping he can help me. And maybe you too." Koo pondered this for a brief moment, but eventually refused. Lightning moved deeper into Max's trailer and slid out the trophy from the demolition derby, now glued back together. "I fixed it," he said, peeking out to see her reaction. "Come on." "You know what? No, thanks anyway, but I'm done." "Okay, but maybe this'll change your mind," said Lightning. Luigi hit a button on a boombox, and music with a dance beat kicked on. Lightning lowered the tailgate ramp. "First I'm gonna loosen up these ancient joints," he said as he rolled towards her, moving to the beat. "No," said Koo, "please don't." Lightning continued the dance exercise on the ramp, speaking to the beat of the music, just like she had at the training center. I'm sorry, I yelled. "It wasn't your fault that I almost got killed." "Stop," shouted Koo. "But now you're leaving and won't get on the ramp." "You won't get on the ramp," he continued. He leaned in and whispered, "Don't make me do this the whole freaking way." Koo smiled, softening. "All right, I'll go. Just stop." Lightning backed up, making room for her to drive into Max's trailer. She smiled as she rolled in, the gate closing behind her. Hours later, they were still inside Max's trailer, heading down the highway. "How do you know Smokey's gonna be here?" asked Koo. "I don't," Lightning replied. "Oh." Koo was silent for a moment. "Do you know if he's even alive?" "Nope." "Okay, so tell me this," Koo began. "How do you know if it's Smokey? Is there some—" Mac turned down a small country road, and suddenly they were in front of a dense forest. "Wait!" shouted Lightning, spotting a large wooden sign. "Mac, pull over! Back it up!" Mac obeyed, and Lightning rolled out with Koo behind him. he inspected the old rickety sign. In faded paint was "Welcome to Thomasville, home of the fabulous Hudson Hornet." "Good to see you, Doc," Lightning said to himself, taking a moment. "Of course," he began. "You want to check out the track of the greatest racer of all time?" "Aren't we supposed to be looking for Smokey?" Cruz asked. Lightning moved behind the sign. In the distance, he could see the classic Thomasville Speedway. Cruz followed him, and the two stood quietly, taking in the sight. "Sure you have time for this?" asked Cruz. "For this?" said Lightning. "I do." Lightning pushed against an old door, but it was locked. He pushed harder, and the chain holding the door gave way. With Cruz behind him, they entered a quiet tunnel and drove through. When they emerged on the other side, they slowly entered the speedway. Lightning stopped at the edge of the track, taking a deep breath and paying his respects to the sacred place. As he looked around, he didn't see the puddles, weeds, or broken grandstands. They were actually there. Instead, he saw the track as it was in its glory days, back when Doc was a young racing car. Lightning placed his tires on the track and moved them back and forth in the dirt. "Wow. If this track could talk," said Lightning quietly. Then he slowly turned and found the starting line. "Cruz, what do you say? Let's take a lap." Vroom! His engine thundered, and he took off. Unable to resist the offer, Cruz raced after him, laughing. As Lightning let Cruz run the track, they whipped round and spurred each other on. They laughed clearly, having a blast. Cruz attempted the turn right to go left, drifting move that she'd failed to execute at the Demolition Derby. Only this time she did it beautifully. Cruz laughed out loud. She was thrilled. "Ooh, you nailed it," Lightning said. "Way easier without the school bus of death trying to kill us. No kidding." As they came round the next turn, Lightning saw the ghostly silhouette of a car parked in the middle of the track. He broke hard, his tires screeching. He stopped, just short of slamming into an old Hudson pickup truck. "Starting to think I might never meet you," said the truck, looking Lightning up and down. Lightning's eyes popped. "Smokey?" he asked. "He's alive," said Cruz. Smokey fixed his gaze on Lightning. "I know why you're here," he said. Then he rolled over and Lightning scooted in, ready to hear his words of wisdom. "You're thirsty." Lightning looked confused as Smokey drove off, leaving them standing there. They exchanged a look and hurried after Smokey, wondering where they were going. End of Chapter 15. Chapter 16. Smokey led them into town and up to the door of a bar called the Cotter Pin. There was an ancient sign on the top of the building with the bar's name. "I tell you what these folks are gonna get a kick out of meeting, Hud's boy," said Smokey. He threw open the door, and warm, happy, old-fashioned music was playing inside. Vintage cars were everywhere, sitting together, chatting and clinking oil cans. Lightning and Cruz felt as if they had stepped back in time. "Hey," called Smokey, causing the place to fall silent. "Act civilized. We got company." Everyone inside turned to see who it was, and then chirped with excitement. Smokey exchanged pleasantries with a few regulars, then led a smiling Lightning and Cruz towards a corner booth in the back. Smokey began chatting with the cars at the table, but Lightning and Cruz stayed back. Lightning's jaw dropped when he saw who's there. "Would you look at that?" he mused. "What? Who?" asked Cruz. "Three of the biggest racing legends ever. Junior Midnight Moon, River Scott, Louise Barnstormer Nash. They all raced with Doc," whispered Lightning. "Louise Barnstormer Nash," Cruz repeated. "She had 38 wins. She's amazing." Lightning and Cruz headed over to the table to join Smokey and his friends. "Well, as I live and breathe, If it ain't Lightning McQueen, said Louise. Miss Nash, it's a pleasure to meet, started Lightning. You've had it tough here, haven't you? Louise interrupted. Lightning was a bit taken aback and began to stammer. Oh, well, yeah. Shouldn't you be running practice laps in Florida by now? Asked River Scott. Lightning continued to fumble over his words. Well, yeah, sure, but, he's here to steal our secrets, said Junior Moon. Looking for your lost Myrtle, huh? Said River. Lightning couldn't believe their brutal honesty. Wow. You don't mince words round here, do you? He said, turning to Smirky. Smirky chuckled. The truth is always quicker, kid. As the evening wore on, the gang stayed in the corner booth, talking and having a good time. A forklift named Sweet Tea sang a smooth tune, and Guido and Luigi watched in amazement. Guido, she's an angel, said Luigi, unable to take his eyes off her. Meanwhile, Lightning and Cruz were fascinated by the stories the legends told. They soaked up every word. Lou won't admit this, but she used to have serious eyes for heart, said River. Oh, really? Asked Lightning. Even if I did, it wouldn't have mattered. I didn't like fast women, and that left me out, said Louise. Everyone laughed. But old Lou wasn't just fast. She was fearless, said River. The second I saw my first race, I knew I just had to get in there. Of course the fellas in charge didn't like the idea of a lady racer showing them up, so they wouldn't let me have a number. What did you do? Asked Cruz. I stole one, said Louise. Lightning and Cruz couldn't believe it and exchanged a look of shock. Life's too short to take no for an answer, right, River? Added Louise. If we had waited for an invitation, we might have never raced, River replied. That's right, said Louise. And once we got on the track, we didn't want to leave. I think That's how Doc felt, too, said Lightning. Ain't that the truth? Said Louise. River smiled. You should have seen him when he first came to town. Shiny blue paint. Not just the Hudson Hornet. He was already calling himself the fabulous Hudson Hornet. They all said together, laughing at the memory. Hoo-hoo! Oh, did we ever ride him on that? Said Louise. Not for long, said Junior Moon. Hud was the fastest racer this side of the Mississippi, said River. Until he wasn't, added Smirky. Lightning was surprised to hear Smirky say that. Everything changed when the rookie showed up, he said. What happened? Asked Lightning. While Smirky spoke, Lightning imagined the scene in his mind. A race was in full swing, and Doc was working his way up through a pack of cars. Took Hud all of no time to work his way through the best races in both Carolinas. Past River, past Lou, even Junior, Smirky said. He mentioned the friendly competitiveness they had with each other back then. It sounded a lot like the relationships Lightning had with Carl, Bobby, and Brick. But there was still the rookie to deal with, Smirky said. He told how the rookie took the lead with the finish line in view. Doc dug deep, pushing himself until he was right behind him. But then the rookie slammed Doc hard into the wall. Once, twice, Hud knew he could not run him. He'd have to outthink him, Smirky continued. He then described one of the most incredible moves of Doc's racing career. Doc drove up the side of the wall, pushed off it, and then flipped over the rookie. Smirky said Doc's roof actually touched the rookie's roof as he rolled over him. Then Doc gracefully touched down on all four tires and sailed for the checkered flag. That rookie never saw Hud coming, said Smirky when he was done. Lightning couldn't believe it. Doc did that, he said. He flipped over another racer, asked Cruz. Yeah, He put on quite a show that day, Smirker said. The legends laughed, enjoying the memory of those good times. Couldn't wipe the smile off his face for a week after that, Louise said. Lightning sat, thinking about Smirker's story, and the dog he remembered. He wanted to join in the fun, but instead a deep sadness came over him. I wish I could have seen him like that, Lightning said. Like what? Smirker asked. So happy. With that, Lightning wheeled out of the bar. End of chapter 16.